Ever bought a cheap pair of binoculars that promised crystal clear views, only to spend the rest of the hike squinting at a blurry mess? I've been there, and that disappointment is why I'm a little skeptical whenever something is marketed as budget-friendly. The Leupold BX5 Santiam HD 842mm sits in that gray area between bargain bin and premium gear, so the big question is whether it actually feels like a smarter buy or just another overhyped promise. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon, and I'm going to walk you through why you might want to keep it in your fishing bag or leave it on the shelf. First off, let's talk about the kind of day that really tests binoculars. Imagine you're out on a misty morning at a wetland, trying to spot an elusive heron. The air is heavy, the wind is tossing droplets onto your lenses, and you need something that won't fog up the moment you raise them. Leupold's claim of 100% waterproof, fogproof, and shockproof isn't just marketing fluff, it's a real necessity for that environment. The sealed, nitrogen-filled housing means the internal optics stay dry, and the foam gasket around the eyepieces keeps rain from seeping in. In my own field tests, the moment I stepped out of my car and the first drops hit the lenses, there was no condensation, and the view stayed sharp. That reliability is the sort of thing you only notice when something else fails, and for anyone who spends a full day outdoors, it removes a huge source of anxiety. The Santiam HD also carries Leupold's Guard Ion coating on the front lenses. This isn't just a water-repellent label, it actually prevents water, dust, and fingerprints from adhering to the glass. On a sunny afternoon, when my fingers inevitably left a smudge after adjusting the focus, the coating let me wipe it away with a quick swipe of a microfiber cloth and the image instantly snapped back to clarity. For birdwatchers who constantly move between tree canopies and open fields, that kind of quick cleaning power translates into more time observing and less time fiddling. Speaking of focus, the extremely smooth focusing system lives up to its reputation. The dual-hinge, open bridge design lets you hold the binoculars with one hand while fine-tuning the focus with the other, which is a subtle but real ergonomic win. When I was tracking a moving flock of geese across a lake, the precise, buttery focus adjustment let me keep the birds in crisp view without having to stop and reposition the whole instrument. That level of control is especially useful for hunters who need to lock onto a target quickly, or hikers who want to scan a distant peak without losing the lock on a landscape feature. Now, let's be honest about the trade-offs. The 842 specification gives you a solid magnification and a relatively wide field of view, but it does mean that the exit pupil, the circle of light you see through the eyepiece, shrinks compared to a 750. In low-light scenarios, such as dusk or dense forest understory, that narrower exit pupil can result in a dimmer image. If you're planning to use these binoculars for nighttime wildlife observation, you might feel the difference. Leupold does mitigate this a bit with a high-definition, HD, optical system that helps preserve brightness, but it's still something to consider if you frequently operate in twilight conditions. Weight is another point that deserves a mention. At just under a pound, the BX5 feels almost featherlight on a backpack strap. That makes a big difference on long treks where every ounce counts. The ergonomic design also means the binoculars sit comfortably against your eyes, reducing the fatigue you might feel after an hour of steady viewing. However, that lightness comes from a more minimalist body construction. While the housing is still shockproof, it doesn't have the same heavy-duty feel as some higher-priced, bulkier models. If you're a mountain climber who expects to take a tumble on rough terrain, you might want a sturdier, more robust unit. For most walkers, hikers, and casual birders, the trade-off between weight and ruggedness is well balanced. Who should definitely consider the Santiam HD? If you spend a lot of time on wetlands, near water, or in humid forests, the waterproof and fogproof features alone make it a compelling pick. Anglers, waterfowl hunters, and shorebird enthusiasts will appreciate the quick clear lens and the ability to keep moving without worrying about condensation. The smooth focus and open bridge design also serve anyone who likes to shoot video or take photos through the binoculars, those who need quick, precise adjustments without pausing the action. On the flip side, if you're a dedicated stargazer or you often observe in pure darkness, you might find the 8 magnification limiting compared to a 10 or a larger objective lens. The narrower exit pupil could mean you're fighting a bit more with dimness, and the lightweight design isn't built for the roughest drop testing scenarios. Also, if you have a very tight budget, say, you're buying your first pair just to try out birdwatching, there are lower-priced alternatives that will get you a view, albeit without the same level of sealing and coating.